So, what's it really cost to become a tech giant? Today, we're digging into one of the most talked about, most controversial founding stories out there. It's a story all about insane speed, raw ambition, and a huge bet that basically changed the game. Right at the center of all this is one single explosive question that, people in Silicon Valley are still debating. Was FriendHive, this platform we all use, built on a founder's brilliant vision, or was it just a stolen idea? Let's get into it. Okay, so the main guy in all this is Zane Buckley, the founder of FriendHive. And from the very beginning, he was known for two things that would pretty much define his entire career. One, he was an absolutely brilliant coder, and two, he had this relentless ambition, where winning wasn't just the main thing, it was the only thing. But here's the thing. The story of FriendHive doesn't actually kick off with Buckley. Nope. It starts in the super competitive, high-pressure world of elite college startups, where a different idea was already brewing. And that idea was called Campus Circle. It was the brainchild of the Wexler twins and Div Naren, and their goal was to solve a pretty big problem: how to connect students across different colleges. They had the vision, right? A social network just for campuses. But to build it fast enough to actually matter, they needed a top-tier coder, like a rock star. And this is where everything just goes sideways. I mean, check out this timeline. The Wexlers and Naren go to Zane Buckley for his coding skills. He seems to be on board, ready to help. But then, and this is crazy, just a few weeks later, Buckley launches FriendHive. It's a platform with the exact same core idea, but the execution is just flawless. Campus Circle? It never even had a shot. It just collapsed. The speed of this move was just mind-blowing. So the big question is, why? Why ditch the team and go it alone? Well, this wasn't just some spur-of-the-moment decision. This was a calculated, super high-risk bet on himself and his own skill. And this is probably the most important part of the whole story. FriendHive wasn't just a carbon copy. It was a serious upgrade. See, Buckley was obsessed with execution. He built a version that was cleaner, faster, and packed with features literally designed to go viral. He bet that being better and faster was the only thing that mattered in the end. And, well, he turned out to be right. But, launching that fast and doing it that way, well, it came with a massive price tag. And you can bet the original founders weren't just going to sit back and watch it happen. So yeah, the Wexlers and Naren sued. And their whole argument wasn't just about some broken verbal agreement. It was about pure betrayal. They claimed Buckley took the ideas they shared with him in confidence, behind closed doors, and just ran with them to build a direct competitor. But this is where it gets really interesting. The lawsuit never actually made it to a courtroom. Buckley settled. And even though the official number is under lock and key, the rumor is he paid over $10 million to make the whole story disappear. For Buckley, this wasn't him saying, "I'm guilty." Nope. This was just a business expense. And that way of thinking tells you everything you need to know about his philosophy. Reputation matters, but control matters more. See, paying millions wasn't about saving his reputation. It was about buying the freedom to build his empire exactly how he wanted, with no partners, no one to answer to. So all of this brings us to the real heart of the story, this clash between speed and scruples. For a guy like Buckley, this wasn't some deep ethical dilemma. It was a cold, hard business calculation in a world where, let's be honest, there's no trophy for second place. Buckley was basically standing at a fork in the road, facing a classic founder's choice. On one side, you have the safe path: collaborate, share the control, but move a lot slower. On the other side, you've got the whiskey path, the lightning raid: go it alone, launch at warp speed, and deal with the fallout later. All for the one thing he cared about most: total control. So what was the logic behind taking such a massive gamble? Well, first, he understood that in social media, being the first one to the party is almost everything. If he launched fast enough, he could build a user base so huge that no one could ever catch up. Second, by having total control, he could steer the ship his way. No committees, no arguments. He got to define the company's DNA from day one. And finally, that multi-million-dollar lawsuit, he just saw it as the cost of doing business, the price you pay to build a monopoly. Which brings us back to the big question at the heart of the FriendHive story. How are we supposed to look at a founder like Zane Buckley? Is he a visionary who just saw a better path forward? Or is he a villain who built an entire empire on a broken promise? Look, this whole FriendHive saga isn't just juicy tech gossip. It's really a mirror that reflects the entire startup world. It forces all of us to ask a really tough question. In a world that rewards speed and execution above all else, what is an idea actually worth? And that leaves us with this one last thought to chew on. In this frantic race to build the future, where speed is everything and fortunes are made overnight, who really owns an idea? Is it the person who first dreams it up? Or is it the person who has the skill, the drive, and maybe the sheer audacity to be the first one to bring it to the world? It's a question with no easy answers, that's for sure.